Alright guys, so I've just filmed a bit of a haul video for you, and I thought I would do a little bit of a different video, which is a bit more behind the scenes stuff of me putting together the backdrop. Now I'm going to have some more step-by-step videos, but I know not everybody is into that, and maybe you don't necessarily want to make these things, but you might just want to see what I'm up to. So I am redoing my backdrop. I had this really old computer desk thing that I've had for, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 years, and it was great, and I held on to it for a lot longer than I probably should have. But the other day I pulled a drawer out and the whole front of the drawer came off, and so decided that was time. It's a sign that the backdrop needs to go, and I need to really think, what do I really want in the backdrop? So I knew I wanted something that went with my whole theme of, you know, whimsical, you know, fantasy, magic, all of that stuff. I'm obviously creative, but you might have noticed that I'm specifically drawn to fantasy type genres and themes. So I wanted something that really reflected that, but and that wasn't just a dumping ground for crap. So I want it to look good, but be a little bit functional as well, and be a storage area in some aspects. But number one, I want it to be nice, a nice backdrop, because I've got plenty of other places to store things. So I figured, why am I storing it all in the backdrop when it does nothing to enhance the video? You know, it's not like, I want an inspirational backdrop basically, because the rest of my studio looks super cool, and like, I don't film in different angles all the time because it can be a bit annoying to move all the lights around, and you guys don't get to see all the stuff that I have in my studio. So I do want to do a new studio tour as well to add to that. But anyway, I thought, you know, I'll show you what my thoughts are of what I want to do, and I've just shot a haul video of buying some of the bits and pieces that I want to use in the backdrop. And you know, I've been looking at a lot of things like curiosities and, you know, pictures of wizard keep going to say wizard caves, like man cave, but you know what I mean, like a wizard's den or study or whatever you'd call it, and what they'd have in there. So I'm gonna flick it around for a second, just show what I've got at the moment here. So it's a bit haphazard. I've just thrown in here all the bottles that I've been collecting for a period of time for projects, and I knew I wanted to make a bunch of potion bottles, and I have made one, as you guys know, which was a light up one actually, but the lights died, and I just decided to can the lights on that one because, I don't know, it was a pain in the butt, so it doesn't light up anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm trying to like work out where to put everything and how to organize this. So this might be a video that I shoot in parts, because this is going to be quite a big project, but I thought it might be cool to see it develop, as well as I'll do, you know, individual videos on making some of the bottles and things, because I think they'll be good singular projects. So this is what we have right now. I have a ton of like whiskey taster bottles that Dan had collected over a while, because he was you can get like these advent calendar things where you can try all different whiskies, and I asked him to hold on to the bottles for me so that I could use them. I don't think I'll use all of them, but I'll definitely use some of them. Like these little black bottles are not going to be very handy for actually using to put stuff in, so I don't think I'll use all of those. So I'll probably just see how many I want as decoration and do it that way. And then this is from the haul video that I just shot. I wasn't sure if I was going to like do a haul video as such, but there was some really cool stuff that I got, and it was a cool shop, so like, yeah, it was so much fun to have a look around. So I thought I'd do a video anyway and do that separately. But I've got to work out how I'm going to arrange all this stuff in there. This case takes up a fair bit of room, so I've got to work that out. And then I'm going to paint that thing. I've got to do up the potion bottles. Yeah, so anyway, got a fair bit to go. Alright, so now the less fun job of removing labels from bottles has to happen before I can do anything fun and creative. All the bottles back here, a lot of them have like stuck on labels and things, and some of them had, you know, alcohol and things in them, and so I want to rinse all of that out before I do anything with them, so that I get all of that stuff off. So I've got some water here with suds, and I'm going to pop all the bottles in here and rinse them out clean, and then I can start some projects. Oh my god, that took forever. I've got so many little jars here. I definitely don't think I'll be using all of these, but I'll probably hold on to them just for other projects. Maybe something else will come up that I'll want them for. So that's that part done anyway. So I decided to fill up a lot of these bottles with glitter that I had around and other bits and pieces of beads. I had some black glitter that was just in plastic bags, so it was a perfect way to store that, much better than having it in a bag. And I've just used a funnel to make sure that it gets into the jar and not everywhere else. also had some sequins and little plastic rhinestones that just had a random assortment of containers, so I put them in there. And I used this spice rack to store the little jars. We had this in our cupboard for the longest time, and it got damaged because we tried putting it in the dishwasher. Not a great idea for a wooden spice rack. So anyway, we weren't going to use it anymore, so it was a perfect way to use it for something. So I painted it with the enamel black paint you guys have seen me use before. And I used some Art Alchemy bronze wax on top of it as well. Now I didn't fit all the jars in there because I have a lot of jars, but it's a good way to show some of the jars at least. Now next I wanted to decorate the other whiskey bottles. So you saw there were two types that I had, one that were the clear ones and one that are matte black. The matte black ones have a much smaller hole and you can't see what's inside them. So I didn't really want to store craft supplies in there. So I decided to make them into little potion bottles. Now I have a video showing how I make these labels in more detail when I was making them for little trinkets. I made labels or tags or whatever for the drink bottles. So I'll link that. So I was just attaching them here onto the bottles. Alright, so I stuck the labels on for these and put magic tape on them, hoping to just hold it against the bottle while it dried. And I thought, oh yeah, magic tape will come off nice and easy and it'll be great. Yeah, it came off nice and easy and took the label with it. So that's a real bugger. So I printed these out again and I'm going to stick them on again. And I've just used plain paper instead of my thicker photo paper because then I don't have to worry about trying to hold it against the bottle. So that's what I'm doing now. Yeah, so because this paper that I'm using is much thinner than the photography paper, it just stuck down without needing any assistance to help it kind of curve around. Yeah, I really thought the magic tape would have worked, but it stuck too much to the paper. Now I'm using again the Art Alchemy bronze wax to just add a bit of something to these bottles. Now I had this little piece of organza that I didn't really have any use for at the time, so I thought it'd be a perfect little thing to add a little material to the top of each bottle, just a little decoration. Now it's a little bit tricky with one hand or one person and trying to tie it while holding it, but I got there in the end. So I got some other labels from Etsy as well. I'll link the shop that I used for these labels. But there's heaps of labels that you can buy from Etsy, and they just come as an electronic file. As soon as you buy them, you get access to download the file, and then you can print it off on your own computer, so it's really handy. Now these glass jars that I'm using for these labels, I just got from the supermarket. Have a look at your supermarket, they might have some glass containers, and often they're cheaper than you'd find if you went to, say, a homewares store. And I thought these looked perfect for my backdrop. The great thing about these containers is they're perfect for storage as well. So they look good, they suit the theme of the backdrop, but they're also good storage. Now, these did come looking like they were a little bit aged, but I wanted to add a little bit more aging to it, so I've just decided to go in with my shellac. If you don't have shellac, you could use a really watered down acrylic paint or watercolor paint or something like that if you want to add a bit more color, or ink for that matter. Now, just to add something special to the top, I decided to grab some fabric scraps that I have and put a little bit of material tied up on the top on these as well. Again, I added some shellac, particularly to the white fabric, because I didn't want it to look too new. I wanted it to look like it was ancient, and making it look yellowed gives it that effect. And then I had some spare plastic bugs, so I thought, why not pop a little bug on each one as decoration. So I really like these for the backdrop. They suit the apothecary theme perfectly, and they're great storage as well. So it's a great way to, you know, put a theme into your backdrop or into your craft room and still have it be storage as well. And then I added some of the smaller bottles on here to try and work out, you know, some layout as I go along. This is only the start of my backdrop. You guys will have seen a lot of the tutorials I've done along the way, so keep watching if you want to see more of the behind the scenes backdrop. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you next time in Faewood. Bye, guys.